I'm a physicist. I study, I'm in astronomy and space sciences, and I focus on the northern lights and the southern lights, the aurora borealis and the aurora australis. And I'm really interested in how the sun takes all that energy and gets it here to planet Earth. So we were used to heat and we're used to getting a sunburn, but there's also other things that occur in the upper atmosphere, and that's what I study. That's one of the best parts of my work, that I get to travel the world, especially the polar regions, which I like. You have to do like a little bit of the cold weather. I get down to the Antarctic, South Pole Station, where we run a number of experiments to study the aurora, cameras to look at it, and then if we run experiments in the northern hemisphere, the same type of experiments, so we can compare both the southern hemisphere, southern polar regions, and the northern polar regions. Well, there are many ways they're alike. So if you just have, one of the things we use is we take all sky images or cameras, where we just take pictures of the night sky and the aurora, and we try to compare them directly. Do we see the same wiggles here in the southern hemisphere as in the northern hemisphere? And what's interesting is sometimes they're nearly identical images, and it's fascinating when you think of how far away they are, but they're connected by a string called a magnetic field line. So there's a giant dipole magnet, big magnet, and people have played with magnets, and you have these lines, and in one location where the magnetic field hits at one station, we put instruments at the other side. And many times we see the same aurora overhead, and many times we don't see anything. We'll see aurora at one place and then at the other. So we're trying to understand why this is, why this happens. That's the essence of what we're doing. I worked at a planetarium when I was in high school, and that was the first thing, just handing out tickets, and then I was so interested I worked behind the counter, and I read all the books behind the counter, and then I just started doing more work and giving little star lectures, and before I knew it, as I was in high school, I was helping write shows and just loved it. And I knew right away I wanted to study math, study physics and astronomy, and that's what I did. It's interesting and fun to learn about our atmosphere and what is around us. And not only what's around us, atmospheres, all these new planets are being discovered. So this is the only planet we could really study in detail. But we can take a lot of our work and try to compare it to other worlds right now that are being discovered around other distant stars. And one of the great things about my job is I get to travel the world in studying our planet. I've been really all over the world, all through the Canadian Arctic, Alaska, Greenland, the Scandinavian countries, Russia, all through the Antarctic, and that's something I don't think students or young students understand. This is part of science. It's not just sitting in a lab. It's exploring the world and trying to put out experiments and understand the world we live in.